How's everyone? Grant here. Welcome back to the channel. And today I'll be going through my first impressions of the Google Pixel 5 hardware and comparing it to the hardware on the Pixel 4a. So first off, a big thanks to everyone at Team Pixel for sending out the Pixel 5 for me to check out and review. Not only that, they've also sent out the official Pixel 5 fabric case, as well as a set of the Pixel Buds for me to check out. So again, big thanks to everyone at Team Pixel. I really do appreciate all that. And so with that being said, let's kind of get going with the video here. And so just looking at both phones, they're pretty much the same dimensions. Technically, the Pixel 5 is slightly larger, but they're pretty much the same size phone here. And on the bottom, they both have the same location for the Type-C port and speaker cutouts. And on the side, you'll see the button placement is pretty much the same as well. And the Pixel 5 buttons are just as tactile as the Pixel 4. So if you can hear that, which is a very good thing because I really like the buttons on the Pixel 4a. They're easy to feel for, and they're really nice and clicky. That remains here on the Pixel 5. Except the Pixel 5, the button feel is a little bit different, where it's very plasticky feel here on the 4a. The Pixel 5 has that back coating here on the volume rocker, so they have that same soft touch feel there. And the power button has this metallic kind of coating on it. So I do think they're still plastic, but that power button just has that metallic coating on it. And on the top, you can see the Pixel 5 loses the headphone jack. Same mic placement there. And going to the rear, you can see the camera housing on the Pixel 5 is slightly larger because it has to house that extra 16 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, which is also capable of shooting up to 4K 60 frames per second. The Pixel 4a topped out at 4K 30 frames per second. And Google has supposedly added a cinematic super smooth panning to the Pixel 5 cameras, so I can't wait to go ahead and check that out and see how that works. And the Pixel 5 is made of supposedly a recycled aluminum back, while the 4a is obviously plastic, although a nice matte soft touch plastic. But it's not cool and soft and cold to the touch like previous aluminum phones, like maybe an HTC 10 and those old school really metallic aluminum phones. You don't really get that cold aluminum touch to your skin. And I really missed that, and it's too bad the Pixel didn't have that. And supposedly that's the case because the Pixel 5 does have wireless and reverse wireless charging. And so obviously wireless charging won't work through aluminum. And so there's supposedly a cutout for the wireless charging coil here on the back of the Pixel 5, which is why they coated the whole back in this bioresin, aka plastic pretty much material. So it's not as smooth as the matte black plastic here on the 4a, but it is a nice soft touch with a bit of a tactile feel to it. And you can see the Google logo there on the bottom. It's that metallic color, just like the power button on the Pixel 5, although you can't really feel for it, so it's not really etched in there. It's just kind of placed on there. And so of course the Pixel 5 adds water resistance, while the Pixel 4a doesn't have an official IP rating. The Pixel 5 does, it's IPX8. So I think a lot of places are reporting IP68 here for the Pixel 5, but Google's website says it's only IPX8, meaning no dust resistance, which is what that first number is for. The second number represents the water resistance. So obviously being IPX8, there's no dust resistance, just water resistance here on the Pixel 5. And so also you can see the fingerprint scanner is in pretty much the same location. Still no face unlock on the Pixel 5. Obviously the Pixel 4 never had face unlock either. And the fingerprint scanner works just as well on the Pixel 5 as it did on the Pixel 4. And for me personally, I do prefer a physical fingerprint sensor. To me, they work better than most in-display sensors. So you can see it pretty much works just the same. If I can actually get that and time that right, let's try one more time. There you go. So one more time here. And so pretty much the same unlocking speeds there. No problems with the fingerprint scanner on the Pixel 5. And so as you can see, they both have 1080p OLED displays. The Pixel 5 is slightly larger display at 6 inches versus 5.8 on the Pixel 4a. And you can see here, the bezels are ever so slightly smaller on the Pixel 5. They kind of pushed the display a little bit towards the edges to get that extra 0.2 inches. But pretty much if you're just looking at it, they pretty much look the same. And you'd only notice the bezel difference if you kind of just compare these phones directly next to each other. And speaking of slightly smaller bezels, you can see here on the Pixel 4a, that top bezel, there's a little bit of a cutout there for the earpiece and top speaker right there, if you can kind of see that. And on the Pixel 5, obviously, to get the screen pushed out more and slimmed down that bezel, there is no cutout for an earpiece or speaker. So I'm presuming, and everyone else is saying, that it's under the display, so I'll test that out in a future video and see how that speaker sounds and compares to the Pixel 4a, if that reduces the sound or sound quality at all here on the 5. And just wrapping up on the difference between the displays, The Pixel 5 has Gorilla Glass 6, while the 4a has Gorilla Glass 3, if that really means something to you. The 5 has that 90 Hertz smooth display there, while the Pixel 4a remains at 60 Hertz. And other differences, pretty much the Pixel 5 has 2 more gigs of RAM here. It's got 8 gigs versus 6 gigs here on the Pixel 4a. You've got the Snapdragon 765G here on the Pixel 5 and the 730G here on the Pixel 4a. And lastly, there is a slightly larger battery here, or a significantly larger battery here on the Pixel 5 at 4,080 milliamp hours and 3,140 milliamp hour capacity here on the Pixel 4a. So the Pixel 4a battery life was actually always pretty good. I was getting max 7 hours of screen on time, depending on what I was doing, and that's mostly on Wi-Fi. But pretty much on average, I was getting 5.5 to 6 hours on the Pixel 4a, and at least a day and a half off the charger, up to 2 days easy. So with added capacity here, yes, you've got the extra power CPU and the 90 Hertz display to power. So maybe that extra battery will pretty much bring it on par of the 4a, or hopefully give you actually longer battery life. So I'm looking forward to testing that out. Would really be a bonus to get extra battery life here out of the Pixel 5. All right, so I think that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I think those are the major hardware differences here between the Pixel 5 and the Pixel 4a. More videos coming up on the Pixel 5. Obviously, I'll be doing some camera comparisons, and I've only been using this phone for less than a day, so maybe in a couple days I'll come back with my first impressions video. I'll tell you all about the phone, audio, camera performance, general performance here, display, everything after using it for at least a couple of days here. And of course, like I said, camera comparisons. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions that I can answer about the Pixel 5 and what other phones you want to see some camera comparisons for the Pixel 5 up against. So again, any other questions or comments, leave them down below. And as always, thanks for watching.